welcome to my vlog. This is Ruth Allen, Chief Executive of BASW, and I've got a different format from this week. I am going to be doing these as a duet, and I'm really delighted to be joined today by Gerry Nosowska, BASW Chair. Hello, Gerry.
Hi, it's great to be here.
So I want to start with a bit of a roundup of some of the things that have been happening. It's been another very busy week for BASW, and I know it's been a very busy week for many, many of you. And as always, our focus remains on providing social workers in practice and in every other role with support, information, advice and guidance to make sure we all feel we're part of one profession, particularly at this time when many of us can't physically see and be with our colleagues and indeed with our family and friends. And also to make sure that you feel that we are representing you and your voice really strongly in government and in the public sphere. This week we held our Talking Together webinar for members, which was a really lovely and informative celebration of social work and BASW, past, present and future, and was part of our 50th Heritage Year celebrations. Do take a look of that. That is on the website and available to you to download. Really informative, really lovely. I'd also want to draw your attention to something that's upcoming, which is in place of our sadly cancelled two-day conference, which was due in June. We have the BASW 50th Anniversary Virtual Festival on the 22nd and 23rd of June, which will be a birthday celebration over 4 stages or sessions. So there will be sessions 2 on each day of an hour each, covering a variety of topics and approaches: poetry, art, music, policy, practice, with lots of contributors. Do please be involved with that. Do come along. It'll be a fundraiser for Social Workers Benevolent Trust and also for an external anti-poverty charity. And it's open to all, not only to members. And it will be available on the website for people to log into afterwards too, but do join us on the day. We're continuing to send you 3 bulletins a week, which we hope reflects all the work that BASW's doing to represent and promote social work and you during this time, and raise issues that we are all concerned about. And next week you can look forward to Professional Social Worker magazine arriving on your doorsteps. You will also see in today's bulletin that there's a podcast from Northern Ireland which deals with issues of mental health. And as it's Mental Health Awareness Week, I'm going to start by discussing wellbeing and mental health for social workers and more widely with Gerry. So, Gerry, the theme of Mental Health Awareness Week is kindness. Have you got any reflections on what that might mean for social workers and wellbeing right now?
Yes, kindness is a wonderful word. It has at its root the idea of kinship, and I think it's fundamentally about empathy and relating to people. So it's very relevant to social work, and it chimes really strongly with our ethics, because social workers, I don't think, are content with the idea of something. They actually want to do something about it, and our ethics of human rights, social justice and integrity, professional integrity, are means to that end of kindness, of really enabling everyone to be connected, to live well, to thrive, so that we all experience well-being. And the danger, of course, is that kindness can be a bit of a platitude. So I think what I'm seeing amongst the social work profession at the moment is practical, proactive kindness that means a lot to people.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that we've been hearing when we've been talking to social workers and the feed-in that we're getting for our survey is that people have really actually been reaching out a lot more to their colleagues in a more conscious way, where that's worked well. I mean, some people are feeling really isolated, actually. So that notion of kindness being linked to kinship and being linked to being with people and to sort of active compassion is really interesting. Because I think at this point in time, with a lot of social workers working in more isolated ways, they've got different experiences of whether they feel that camaraderie is still going. But in many places, people have made real efforts using online. There's, people are saying we're having more meetings, I'm having more conversations using digital platforms than sometimes I would have done before. So I don't know, that's just some of the things that we're hearing from social workers at the moment.
I think there's a really strong message about self-awareness here and kindness to self, which is coming through quite strongly this week. And that fits again with what we're hearing from members, that people are really tired. This is a tiring, weighty kind of time, and making sense of it and getting through it is taking a real toll on people. So that peer support and being there for each other is so important. And I think BASW is doing a lot to try to create spaces where people can come together.
Yeah,
really encourage people to use those opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, creating the online talking spaces, support spaces that we've been providing across the whole of the UK have been, I think, really valuable. We've had really good feedback on that, and would encourage people to look at that. Those are kind of like Skype discussions for small groups. We're also looking at expanding what we can offer through our kind of telephone and online advice service as well, to build on what advice and representation offer. So we're in the process of developing that at the moment. I guess we think there is going to be a need to address social worker wellbeing. There's always a need to address social worker wellbeing. It's an enduring issue and something we're very concerned about in the long run, but at different stages and points in the recovery or the phases of this pandemic, we really need to have resources there for people, don't we?
Yeah, and this fits really strongly with the work that we are progressing much more quickly now around equality, diversity and inclusion. We know that how people are doing at the moment is not it's not equal, and the impact isn't equal, and people are facing really different kinds of struggles depending on where they are, who they are, what's going on for them in the context, and there's lots of structural issues behind that. So we've a commitment within BASW to promote equality, diversity and inclusion, and to try to be an organisation that is there for all social workers. And we know we've got a way to go with that, but one of the concrete steps that we've taken is to set up an equality, diversity and inclusion advisory group, which Ruth has mentioned in a previous vlog, and they have met now and given their first set of messages to council, and those messages are very strongly about making sure that there's personalised care, support and risk assessment for social workers, so that they're able to be okay in whatever work setting they're in, and that we need to be pushing really strongly for that.
Yes, absolutely. We are doing some additional advice with our colleagues in advice representation for Black and minority ethnic staff in particular, about risk assessment in the workplace, and looking at the guidance that's there from in organisations. It's a huge issue. It's very tricky. We've not lived through such kind of infection risk that actually seems to be affecting different members of our working and general communities in these different ways. So we're looking at guidance for that, absolutely. Yes, so the group is established, the Equality and Diversity Group, as you say, it's advisory, but it's obviously part of our wider strategy, isn't it, for that inclusion, diversity, that we understand all the protected characteristics that our members may have, and how we make sure that we're an inclusive organisation.
Yes, and that we are a place where every social worker feels is for them. It represents them, that they can be part of, and that they can take an active role in and contribute in whatever way works for them. So one of the reasons that we set up the advisory group is that we know that we need to start with the visible leadership at the top and make sure that council is representative. And we'll be talking more about that at the annual general meeting in September.
Right, thank you. Yeah, and I think, Gerry, it's also great that you're here this week, because we've just had another council meeting, and it would be great, I think, to share some of the highlights and some of the key issues that were raised there.
Yes, the council met on Wednesday and we met online. We did our best to get through quite a lot of discussions. The major things that we were talking about were, firstly, the 2025 vision, which will be presented to members at the annual general meeting in September, we've had a lot of contribution from social workers about what that should look like, and it's about setting out what we think a strong social work profession in the United Kingdom looks like, and what BASW's mission is around that. And we've got 3 really big areas that we push within BASW that we contribute to social work, and that's supporting social workers. It's about promoting the development and progression of the social work profession and social work practice, and it's also about the voice and influence of social work within society. So we're getting to the point now where we'll have a draft vision to share with people, and that's really wonderful because that will set the direction for the next 5 years, and it's really building on all the great work that's already in place. That led us to talk about the need to learn from our response to COVID-19. There's been lots of changes within BASW, and there's things that actually we can build on and progress, and there's other things that we miss, and we want to figure out how we can get back to those, and what that will look like. And the other thing that we were talking about really was the plan for next year, and the phases of the plan. There's a level of uncertainty. We're really grateful that we have a strong membership, and that allows us to be quite thoughtful about what we can do over the next year. But we also need to make sure that we're able to be adaptable and flexible for the needs of social workers as those change and emerge. And we also had the opportunity within council to thank staff and to thank members who have contributed so much over the last few months in ways that none of us really expected we'd have to step up. But it's been a really wonderful response, I think, for social work, and lots that we can draw on for the future.
Yeah, it was really effective council meeting online on Zoom. Most people were able to actually be there and contribute. I think it's amazing actually how we can use the technologies to be pretty efficient and get the work and get the business done, and also take forward some really important areas of principle, such as taking forward our vision and really promoting the equalities and diversity work. And those things are not on hold. And I suppose one thing I wanted to say, and it was something that came up in council, is that although we're really focused on dealing with COVID now, we are also trying to really keep on top of and continue to promote those long-standing developments projects that are really, really important for the long term for BASW and for social work. And yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'd just like to finish today by saying we absolutely are really starting that learning the lessons part of COVID. We're only part way through. We don't really know how long it's going to be, so we don't know how far we are through this. We don't really know what all the phases of this pandemic will be. We are just about to issue our guidance for the role of social work in a pandemic and in its aftermath, with a focus on COVID-19, and that will be out either today or early next week. And that should also help to frame some of our thinking about how we support social work right now, but also in those emerging stages of recovery aftermath, and as it impacts the population as a whole, actually, to the people we serve, as well as how it impacts on us as a profession. So thanks, Gerry. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we close?
I think the only other thing to add is that the opportunity that there is now as people pay attention to social care and social work is for BASW to take a really strong lead on what that needs to look like. Conversations that we already have been having for some time, but have a real sense of urgency about them. And I think that's something that council is really keen for us to focus on, particularly prioritising around what adult social care should look like, the role of placements within that, what children's support, family support should look like, and what mental well-being across the population will look like, and the role of social work within public health. So there's some really big conversations that need to happen that we will be very much at the heart of.
Thank you, Gerry. It's a very good message to finish on. So thank you to all our members, and I will be back next week with another buddy, I think, but hopefully Gerry will be back at some point very soon too. So anyway, in the meantime, take care and stay in touch.